to be. Um, in that place of knowing that all is well, all is perfect, right here at the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living, as we welcome our virtual family via Facebook and our YouTube subscribers. Welcome home to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. We are continuing our annual theme of timeless wisdom and evolutionary vision. This is our overarching theme for 2021. And our theme for the month is stepping into the unknown. And today our talk is the winds of change. And I want to share with you a fascinating story, or at least fascinating for me, that I saw on the news recently. This is a little bit of a backdrop and a setup. We recently completed here at the Monterey Center one of our spiritual development classes called The Power of Your Word. And one of the weekly assignments in that class was for us to select a story from the news or from a personal experience, to share that story with the class. And then as a group, we identified where God is in the story. And notice the assignment was to select a story. So we had the choice of a story that was what we would classify good news or classify as bad news. The choice was ours. The story that I'm going to share with you is an example of the creative process. And for me, it was very fascinating, and it may be news for some, and it may be old history for others. Anyway, last month, a team at New England Baptist Hospital in Boston used augmented reality during a total hip replacement surgery, giving the surgeons X-ray vision. The procedure, cleared by the FDA in January, was used for the first time in the United States during this total hip replacement. We're going to a place in medicine that has just never existed before, said Dr. Steve Murphy, an orthopedic surgeon at New England Baptist Hospital, who is also the inventor of the augmented reality system, the first intraoperative AR guidance platform for joint replacement. What this does is that it takes all of the critical three-dimensional information of the patient and puts it right where you want it, when you want it, in real time, Murphy says. Before surgery, 3D images of the patient's anatomy are loaded onto a special head-mounted lens. In the operating room, a tracker is placed on the patient, and once the tracker locks into the patient's anatomical information, it is projected inside the body in real time. The benefit of this is precision, Murphy added. The surgeon is able to see the patient's exact unique anatomy to perfectly place a new implant underneath what is becoming increasingly smaller and smaller incisions. And I thought this just in itself was a good news piece, that the incisions are becoming smaller and smaller. Little differences turn out to be big differences for the patient. Being able to lock in and be sure that everything you're doing is exactly what you had planned, and you're accomplishing exactly what you're setting out to do, is a difference maker for surgery, says Dr. Murphy. It is a difference maker because the patient's involved as well. The patient in this groundbreaking surgery had a long history of hip problems and had been a patient of Murphy for years. Up and walking the same day, the patient says the recovery has been faster and easier than their first hip replacement decades ago. The next procedure where this platform could be used is knee replacement. The equipment is inexpensive and it's easy to train surgeons to use it. Murphy is hopeful that patients around the world will benefit from this in the near future. This truly, for me, is an example of the creative process, using the mind of God, this creative intelligence, to create that which supports us in many areas of our lives. This week, we continue our journey into living from our vision. We embrace change with curiosity as we navigate our path with practical spirituality. And so when we look at the winds of change, we know that the winds of change are calling forth a commitment to a vision to embrace change, to embrace transformation, and to embrace newness. As we boldly step into the unknown, we find ourselves navigating the winds of change, welcoming some and resisting others. It's a both and. We welcome some and we resist others. We can choose how we're going to live forward. Remember, life invites us to live forward. We learn from the past and we live forward. And connecting this to our Centers for Spiritual Living Evolutionary Vision statement, the one that is relevant for today is we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. And then from the timeless wisdom from our science mind principles, our core concepts, and our values, this statement emerges. Freedom is the birthright of every individual. We are free to choose and create our own experience. And so we are reminded that to the degree that we allow ourselves to become less resistant to upsets in life, we can embrace opportunities and move in a new direction. And I offer these three illustrations or points for us to consider. The first one, we have the choice to stay comfortable. We have the choice to stay comfortable. We stay with the order that we know, or we can step into the chaos or disorder, thereby opening ourselves to release blockages and make choices that create a life that works for us and for everyone. And I always add, right where we are. This life that works for everyone exactly where they are. Consciously choosing to poise ourselves in the realization that we live in pure spirit. A new power is born within, and we are renewed by divine light. We are led by divine intelligence, and we are guarded by divine love. And in our visioning yesterday, this theme of love is all there is emerged. And here we see it again, recognizing that the love of this creative intelligence, the love of spirit, the love of God, is that energy that we are divinely guarded and guided and led by and renewed by each and every moment. Embracing the changing winds is the path of practical spirituality. And this is what the teaching of Science of Mind is all about. We use a lot of words, we use a lot of illustrations, we use a lot of metaphors. And the whole idea is to invite us to recognize that this path of practical spirituality is easy. It really is easy. Ernest Holmes offers this from Living the Science of Mind. Instead of being confused by the situations around us, we should be calm, tranquil, and confident that through reforming our word, we can as easily change the existing conditions as perpetuate them. By reforming our word, we can easily change the existing conditions or we can perpetuate them. The second illustration I share this morning is life includes upsets that bring disorder to our presumed order in our lives. Life, life brings to us upsets, disorder to our presumed order in our lives. Our natural human reaction is to seek order and to resist disorder. Of course, this demands that we change in a new direction when we make the choice to seek the new order. If we do not change, we continue to muddle through and remain in the comfort zone of ease. That comfort zone of ease that can limit us. And an example that I frequently share from my life of being in that comfort zone is if I'm driving a long distance. Let's say if I'm driving from Monterey up to the Bay Area for an appointment or whatever, I will use my GPS system, and I use it primarily, even though I know where I'm going. I use the GPS to alert me to traffic warnings and possible alternative routes, depending on the time of the day that I am traveling. And now at times the GPS will direct me to an unfamiliar route. And I find myself arguing with it now, say, I don't want to go that way. I know where I'm going. I don't want to take this detour. And sometimes in my stubbornness, I will keep going the direction that I'm going and wind up in a huge traffic jam. Other times, when I resist not and follow the directions of the GPS, I find that it takes me around the traffic delay or the construction or whatever the obstacle may have been. And that makes the difference between being on time for an appointment or being late. Stephen Covey writes this: whatever your present situation, I assure you that you are not your habits. Whatever your present situation, I assure you that you are not your habits. You can replace old patterns of self-defeating behavior with new patterns, new habits of effectiveness, happiness, and trust-based relationships. And this is from his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Powerful Lessons in Personal Change. It is these moments of upset in the normal calm of everyday life that offer the opportunity for change. These moments become openings in consciousness, guiding us into life in a new direction, propelled by the energy of divine love. Notice as we're seeing a pattern unfolding here, that when we become open to the changes, we embrace these so-called disruptions. It is always propelling us forward, propelling us to expand our consciousness and lift our being, lift our awareness that we're always divinely guided by love. And again, Ernest Holmes from Living the Science of Mind offers this: keeping the goal in mind, refusing to be baffled or defeated, with uplifted thought and calm, but definite purpose, we cannot fail. I'll say this again: keeping the goal in mind, refusing to be baffled or defeated, with uplifted thought and calm and divine purpose, we cannot fail. And point number 3, there is no simple way to respond to the disorder, which forces us to reorder our lives and head in a new direction. Well, I tend to have a slightly different thought on that. I think the simple way for me, I'll just share my experience. The simple way that I have learned to respond to the disorders, to just say yes. To just say yes. Even though there may be some resistance to moving in a new direction. Once I say yes, the response time is much faster. Here is where we allow ourselves to reflect on what was good or helpful in the past. The past is an excellent teacher if we choose to allow it to be that teacher for us. Otherwise, we may tend to spend time and energy on resistance or reaction that keeps us stuck in a rut. The practice of welcoming these moments of upset into life can be the key to bringing us to the place of acceptance, the place of surrendering to, and allowing the winds of change to blow us in a new direction, propelled forward by the creative power of the universe on this new path. Again, remember the winds of change, the spiritual winds of change, are always blowing us in the direction of our creative power, that we tap into and utilize the creative power of the universe on this new path. And in our Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes writes this: "This is the greatest discovery of all time. The road to freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws. The road to freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws." And so, to sum this up, to maybe tie a bow on all of this for this presentation, as we deepen our spiritual practices, welcoming everything, and notice the emphasis on welcoming everything. We're not selective about it. We welcome everything into our life. We begin to see the blockages and disappointments as opportunities. Gratefully accepting the winds of change with an open heart and curiosity, we surrender to the normal process of disorder and reorder, which propels us forward in the direction of a renewed commitment to the vision of our life. Gratefully accepting the winds of change with an open heart, with curiosity and surrender to the normal process of disorder and reorder. Notice how these two work hand in hand. It's like the breath. It's like the in-breath and the out-breath. Now, the breath is not a disorder, but I'm just using this as a metaphor to illustrate how one follows the other. Disorder and reorder. Disorder and reorder. They are continually set in motion, and they propel us forward. And in our moving forward, we make choices that are in alignment with the divine vision, this highest vision that Spirit has for our lives. And I share this from the Welcoming Prayer by Richard Rohr. I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. In these moments that we are broken open and can release the blockages in our lives, otherwise, we hold on to them with resistance. So in those moments, when we surrender to and allow ourselves to be broken open, is when we release the blockages that we otherwise hold on to and create the resistance. And so our call to action this week, and I've asked our tech team to put these into the chat for those of you who are joining us via Zoom, and into the comments section in our Facebook page. And so our call to action for the week: reflect on a major challenge that is happening now or has happened in your life, and ask, how has this allowed you to break open to change in the direction of your life that has brought more happiness or freedom? So we're looking at a challenge that may be happening now or has happened in the past. And in taking the time to just be an objective viewer of this challenge, ask, how has this allowed me to break through to a change in the direction of my life that has brought more happiness and freedom? Our second practice for this week is, has this practice of the heart, how has this practice of heart-centered gratitude in a moment of disappointment enabled me to change my life? How has the practice of heart-centered gratitude in a moment of disappointment enabled me to change, to embrace change in my life? And our third action item is, what does it mean to embrace change with curiosity? What does it mean to embrace change with curiosity? And how can this support me on my path? And their affirmation for the week is, I honor the movement of grace within and through me now. I honor the movement of grace within and through me now. And invite us to just take in a breath and release. As we pray together, recognizing there is a universal pattern of growth and change that appears to be well hidden, but is also in plain sight. This is how God works. And I now focus my entire being on God, the one power, the one life, the one presence, the one source of absolutely everything that there is. And in this present moment, I know that I am blessed. I know that my life is full, it is fulfilled, and everything, absolutely everything that I welcome into my life propels me forward into a new way of being. And as I embrace this truth for myself, I embrace it for everyone. Because it is written that the truth known in any one place is also known in every place. And so I speak my word knowing the truth that all of life is working for me. And all of life is working for everyone who is a part of this virtual ministry of the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living, our local community and our non-local community that embraces this teaching worldwide. This is a planetary teaching. And we are blessed to be contributors to the planetary transformation. I bless all places where individuals are gathering, in whatever form they are gathering, as truth seekers and truth knowers, recognizing that there are many paths that lead to this place that is called home. And we join with each other in consciousness, and we join with each other hand in hand, virtually, as we travel this path of oneness together. I speak a word of blessing this morning for those who have prayer requests that are held within the recesses of their heart, or may have been shared in writing, just writing out something in a journal, or writing out a statement on a piece of paper and then shredding it. Any act of release, any act of letting go allows the Spirit to take that request and do what it does. And that is to bring about peace within. Because it is from this inner place of peace that we bring about the change in the world that we wish to see and we wish to be. I know that all is love, that all is divine, and everything is unfolding in right and perfect order right here and right now. And so in recognition of the order, the disorder, and the reordering of everything in life, I give thanks. And I release this word, I release this prayer, I release this talk into the law, which always says yes to whatever it is requested of it. And in this yes, I just allow this to be. And I invite you to affirm this with me by saying, and so it is. And so we now embrace our participation in the divine law of circulation. And we have an abundance affirmation that I would like for us to share. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything that I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. I release this visible substance, an outer symbol of my inner supply, into the physical world. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And we are grateful. We are grateful for the abundance consciousness that is demonstrated by this spiritual community. And to participate in the law of circulation, you may mail a check. The address is posted on our screen. You may make a secure donation through our website. Go to montereycsl.org, or you may also text to give at 831-246-9694. It is through your generosity that we are able to continue to bring services from our sanctuary, even though I'm broadcasting alone. Soon that will be changing, and there will be live people in our beautiful space. We're so glad that you can join us through our beautiful space. And so we invite you to join us next week as we continue stepping into the unknown. And our talk is blessitation. I'm sure you're all going to want to see how that unfolds. Blessitation. And so we bless you. We thank God for you. And we know that life continues to unfold in divine, right, and perfect order.